Hey everybody, what's up? Alright, episode number 5 in the Twin Peaks series. Back with another review for you. This is the episode where we meet, and the title of the episode also tells us The One-Armed Man. That is the name of the episode. So let's get down to business and see what we can see what we can glean from all the tidbits we've been given. Alright, so we're at the Palmer house, and it's Andy that's drawing the sketch of Bob being described by Sarah Palmer. I do recall that Dale mentioned it was Hawk. I think that it's probably just a continuity error. They wrote it in the script and he mentioned it, and then it ended up being Andy. So it's kind of a wash. It doesn't really matter. It's not that important, but that I did want to point that out. Sarah is vividly reimagining Bob's face. I mean, she's really distraught about it. She's got these visions and she saw this guy. Though the image we get of Bob kind of peeking, hiding at the end of the bed looks kind of silly compared to the vision that Dale gets when he's in that kind of that boiler room or whatever, and is talking about he's going to kill him again. He's going to catch Mike in his death bag, So we definitely get a she probably got a vibe coming off of him when she had that vision. So it's reaffirmed by now we know that he's a real kind of nasty guy. And then out of nowhere, Leland saunters in and in rather cold, uncaring manner, kind of mocks her and brings up the previous vision that she's had. And he seems to be hinting that she's just making this up. And it's kind of I don't know if it's the next step in the grief cycle, or he got all of his crying and despair out from the dancing scene, and now he's just kind of becoming kind of angry or cold towards Sarah for whatever reason. So we see that. Excuse me. Then she goes into detail about the actual vision she had, where Dr. Jacoby takes the necklace that was put there by Donna and James. Donna's reaction lets us know that vision was indeed real. She was there when it happened, and it was described, perfectly. Lucy is apparently a big fan of Invitation to Love, which is not too surprising. She's a bit of an airhead. she's kind of sweet, but a bit of an airhead. And Andy and Lucy apparently have something going on. There's a little bit of tension between them. That's he asks why he couldn't stay over, so take from that what you will. Dr. Jacoby is being interviewed by Dale. He's doing his kind of goofy little, hack magic trick with the golf balls. He's wearing those glasses that look like they're colored like almost like 3D glasses. He's beats around the bush quite a bit, but eventually reveals to Dale that Laura had secrets, and that she'd kept them. She'd built a fortress around them, in his words, and that he was not able to discover what they were even after 6 months of therapy. And so because of this, he considers himself a failure. When Harry brings up any mention of Bobby or James, Dr. Jacoby describes them as boys, and Laura in contrast as a woman. And this is important. Remember, we're getting his 6 months worth of talking to her, getting those little tapes that he had hidden in that coconut he hid the necklace in. So he's got some insight into her, but he's kind of pussyfooting around it because of the doctor-patient thing. And but it does hint that her knowledge, carnal or otherwise, of the world and her life experiences they have to do with things that are outside the sphere of your average high school student. So by no means was she merely a small town high school girl. Jacoby says he did not sleep with Laura. And then he tells us of a mystery man in a red Corvette that he followed and lost. And she did mention, remember, she said, said specifically about a mystery man in the episode where he's listening to her tape, or Jacoby's listening to her tape in his kind of, Hawaii themed office or whatever. And who do we know that has a red Corvette? Well, Leo Johnson's got a red Corvette. So there you go. There's another connection made. Now we've got Dale at the sheriff's office, still continuing the same scene. His supervisor, Gordon Cole, calls. We learn that the brand of the twine is Finley's Fine Twine, and that the bites made on the shoulder were from, on Laura's shoulder, and the claw marks were made by a bird. So we've narrowed it down. We know that it was a bird. Gordon brings up Albert's wanting to, press charges or file charges against, Sheriff Truman, and Dale protects him. Says no way in hell, he'll fight him all the way up to the Supreme Court. So yeah, Dale has definitely got Harry's back. They're definitely becoming very close. Andy brings in the sketch of Bob that he made working with Sarah. Dale confirms that is the same person he saw in his dreams. And that he had he had a strong suspicion that his dream and Sarah Palmer's visions were connected. And that was the reason actually why he was not in that opening scene, because he thought he might influence her, because he is, quote, a strong sender. So again, we see that the show is building upon the concept of the paranormal having an influence on real events, not just in the subconscious, but that are also manifesting themselves in real life. So again, like I said, this is an important part, because that adds a whole new level and layer to the situation. So once you throw in the kind of the supernatural and the paranormal, things may not be as they seem, so it just kind of adds that in a little extra bit of intrigue. So we've got that, and then Hawk finds the one-armed man that we've been looking for, that Dale saw in his dream at the Timber Falls Motel. And lo and behold, this is the same place where we saw Catherine and Ben Horn meeting in a previous episode to carry out their business plans and their affair. Josie is trying to play private detective with her camera, so obviously she's either knows that they've been there or decided to follow Catherine. And it sounds like they are pretty much set on the plan of burning down the sawmill and placing the blame on Josie. And Andy is obviously in need of some serious firearm training. I always like that scene. He's such a goof and just kind of an awkward, kind of clumsy guy. He's definitely good for comic relief. The guys break into the hotel room and confront a Mr. Gerard, who appears to be the same man that was at the hospital and that appeared in Dale's dream. So this is the one-armed man. Apparently Ben likes to shower with a Elvis Presley doll. No idea why. A poker chip falls out of his pocket as he's going towards the bathroom. And it looks like from One-Eyed Jack's. And remember that a plastic bit was found in Laura's stomach that had a J on it. So another connection between Laura and the brothel. And perhaps Ben Horn as well. Mr. Gerard is shown the sketchbook of Bob. Doesn't have a clue who he is at all. He confirms that he does have a friend named Bob, but this is Bob Lydecker, who is actually a veterinarian and is currently in a coma after being assaulted. So sounds like quite a different person. Hawk checks his criminal record. Gerard's clean. So nothing to go on there. His middle name is Michael, but not his first name. He says that he lost his arm in a car accident while he was a traveling salesman selling pharmaceuticals. And Dale presses the issue about a tattoo. And Mr. Gerard breaks down crying, and he says that the tattoo said "Mom." So didn't according to him, it obviously didn't say "Fire Walk with Me." And when they are heading out from the scene, Hawk lets Harry know that Josie was staked out at the hotel. And so Josie's obviously amping up her, or being more vigilant about the situation with Catherine and Ben, and we know that Sheriff and Josie are seeing each other, so obviously that's probably going to amp up his concern as well. Donna and Audrey meet up in the girls' bathroom at the high school. Audrey talks about her, kind of daydreams of Dale, about she's going to be, swept away, to, adventures around the world as his partner in helping to, solve crimes. And that's how she's going to win him over, by helping him solve the case. So she goes into Audrey detective mode and confirms some things that we pretty much knew. The ones in her close circle, I mean, Audrey didn't know, but Donna and James and all the rest knew that she was doing drugs. So that wasn't anything new. Now Donna knows that Laura was seeing a psychiatrist, and Audrey knew that because there was a little peephole that she could look through. So obviously she has gleaned information via that method more times than once. Audrey brings up One-Eyed Jacks. Donna doesn't know anything about. Audrey tells her about it and then says that her working up there, would explain a few things. So apparently maybe there's some times where she was away or had made excuses that she was going to be somewhere, something that kind of fits in with the pattern that Donna now would, kind of know where she was or what she was doing. So, and because of that, Donna agrees to help out Audrey and trying to figure out the case, but to keep it amongst themselves. So now we basically got Team Dale and Team, Audrey/Donna working to solve the case. And in leaving the scene, I guess ending that particular scene, Audrey mentions the perfume counter at her father's apartment store. So what does she have in mind? What's going on? Those gears are turning in her head. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah, Hank Jennings' parole hearing, and that's kind of meh, We're just establishing that the character he's got a criminal past. He apparently either, killed somebody, whether it was intentional or not. It's hard, you don't know. And he's got an estranged marriage with Norma, so it's not a real, important scene. We're just going to zip on by that. Dale and Harry go to Bob Lydecker's veterinary clinic because they're going to try to get some records on the animals there to see if they can find a particular animal or particular bird or whatnot that fits the description, and narrow it down, because birds have owners if they're taking them to a veterinary. Yeah, so let's see here. Okay, yeah, Shelley and Bobby are making out, Shelley shows Bobby the bloody shirt, and Bobby immediately sees an opportunity to get Leo out of the picture for good. And Shelley seems more than happy to go along with the plan. So Bobby's now we've got Donna and Audrey doing their thing, and now Bobby's got his whole scheme going. And Andy's romantic aspirations with Lucy seem to be the reason why he's acting so high-strung, and the why he gun slipped out of the holster and almost shot somebody. And Lucy's behaving like a typical gal. She's, giving him the brush off, or, playing kind of mind games with him, typical stuff. The guys go down to the pistol range. Obviously, Andy can't shoot for crap, and the rest of the guys are all really skilled at firearms. There's a little bit of banter, but nothing all that important as far as the case goes. We see that Shelley and Norma have a lot in common when they're talking as far as relationships concerned. Both of them married someone that they shouldn't have, and now they're trying to get back into a relationship with the one that they originally should have been with. Basically, Shelley fell for the bad boy with the flashy car, and Leo basically just wanted a maid. So, yeah. But Norma is still a bit apprehensive about what she's going to do, but Shelley seems, she's taking the initiative. She wants to get the hell away from Leo. Maddie Ferguson shows up. James sees her and is kind of at a loss for words. We find out that she's Laura's cousin, and that they used to, visit, and they pretended they were sisters. I mean, obviously it's being played by the same actress. She asks James if he thinks she looks like Laura. James is kind of, at a loss for words. Now he's kind of, it's almost like, if you want to look at his reaction, it's almost like Laura kind of walked back into his life, and how head over heels he was for her. So this may present an issue. Audrey shows up and gives a great performance for her unsuspecting father. The daughter who's now regrets all the trouble she's caused and wants to turn over a new leaf. And it's obvious that she's completely full of crap. But I guess she wins her father over. And this is obviously a ruse to get a job at Horn's department store so she can continue her investigation. So now we're back at the sheriff's department. The guys are going through the files. There's just, a ton of different pet files, and they're just going through them all, trying to narrow it down. Thankfully, Gordon Cole gives a buzz and lets them know that the bites are made by a parrot or a mynah bird. So that narrows it down a bit. The object that the plastic piece that came from Laura's stomach, the object it came from is reconstructed, and we find out what we already pretty much knew, and then it's a poker chip for One-Eyed Jacks. So now they've got another lead, another location. Andy hits pay dirt eventually. We find out that not only was it a mynah bird, whose name is Waldo, that attacked Laura, but this particular bird belongs to a Mr. Jacques Renault, our friendly bartender from the Roadhouse. So yeah, Jacques and the bird and Laura we're pulling the I guess the net is closing down on or whatever term you want to use. I think it's tightening, I guess you could say, around these particular suspects that look like they have something to do with it. All right. And yeah, well, apparently Bobby also had a similar idea of paying Jacques a house call, because the minute they've got a confirmation that Waldo's owned by Jacques, the Team Dale decides they're going to visit his apartment and see what's up. And what the heck is up with those two people playing tennis? I mean, they're dressed like they're going on an expedition in the Arctic. Always some weird people around that town, I tell you. So yeah, Bobby's got the bloody shirt, and he plants it at Jacques' apartment and narrowly makes his escape out the window before Team Dale kicks the door down and goes in and starts looking over around the place. But I guess it helps to be a varsity athlete if you need to get away quick, because he was hauling ass. That Hawk was after him lickety-split. Now the shirt is found, just as planned, with Leo's initials stitched into the collar. So yeah, it seems almost like a slam dunk at that point. So we've got the red Corvette, we've got Leo, and we've got Jacques. And we know that Jacques and his brother were moving back and forth from Canada, doing the drug deal. Now we also know that the stuff's going on at the One-Eyed Jacks. It's up in Canada, so we've got stuff going on in Canada across the border. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Maybe we'll see Jacques again sometime. So now we jump over to Leo's night meeting with Ben Horn out in the boonies somewhere, and Leo is apparently not a happy camper about what's going on, and Ben's kind of Ben can't relate. he's a rich guy, so he's just kind of, he's kind of treating Leo as a buffoon, like as a henchman of sorts. And Leo reveals that he ended up killing Bernard Renault, Jacques' brother, once he got out on bail, because he probably couldn't keep his mouth shut, or was worried. He was probably paranoid that he was going to give something up. So Bernie's out of the scene, and Jacques got a ride back up to Canada, and apparently Leo let him know that he was not to be seen south of the Canadian border for a while. So yeah, Ben is that conspiracy's cooked up with Catherine about burning the mill down, and I guess Leo is the one that's going to put it into action. So the money is in hand, and it's going to take place apparently in a few days. Donna and James go back to where the necklace was buried, where they buried it, and just to confirm that it was taken. So yeah, now we know. Now they've got proof that it was taken. So more confirmation that these visions and dreams are legit. Donna talks about Laura mentioning that her mother had these kind of dreams and that she was kind of spooky in that way. So apparently this is something that maybe is in the family, but at least, it isn't something that had just started happening once Laura died. That vision of Bob or whatever at the edge of the bed wasn't like the first one she ever had. And apparently Laura was prone to dreaming as well. So something's up. The land of dreams. And what's going on in there is having a profound effect. Suddenly the camera jerks up and we see that there's an owl watching the two of them. Seems kind of an odd thing to do if there was no significance there, but we can't really glean much from it other than there was an owl checking them out. And now we see that Donna wants James to help figure out, who did it, but not just for Laura, but for them. So I think she still feels a bit guilty that she's with James now, and then I guess figuring out the case and find out who did it will bring some kind of closure, and maybe it'll assuage any of the guilt that she feels if they can, Laura can rest at peace again. So I think that's the significance of that. We are wrapping up the episode with Josie at the Packard home with making small talk with Pete. She opens up a letter and there's a little pencil sketch of a domino piece. And if we recall earlier, Hank Jennings has this domino piece that he's always carrying around with him. So that immediately that connection pops into our heads, but not. On top of that, we get a phone call from said Hank Jennings, and we know that he is not a savory character by any means, and Josie apparently knows him on a personal basis. So Miss Josie Packard, who's acting as if she's the innocent victim of a conspiracy, has been working with some unsavory people, so she's not as squeaky clean as she'd like us to believe. But old Harry is not privy to that, so who knows what's going to happen. So yeah, that's episode 5. We got 3 more to go for this season. And I'll have these both up today, and I hope you guys enjoy them. And always comment, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate it. The subscription rate is growing steadily, little by little, so it's a positive sign and definitely a good thing. I feel like makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile and that people are actually checking out. So that's cool. But yeah, I'll see you guys for episode 6, and we'll continue to track down Laura's killer. Until then, take it easy, guys.